And it's time for another episode of The Acquired Taste. And full disclosure here, today's episode is going to be the last episode of the show known as The Acquired Taste, as some changes are coming in on Monday. So you'll see exactly what we got in store for you guys. But without further ado, today's guest host is the one and only Jeff Garcia, the host of the Locked On Spurs podcast, and also the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
Not a problem. Filling in right here for, I believe it was Rudy Campos, correct? So he had to take care of some stuff. So I'm filling in today. And also, just full disclosure, I'm here just for a little while. I'll be here for about 40 minutes. Joe will take you the rest of the way. But I thank you for tuning into this episode. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone and subscribe to Locked On Spurs because Rudy is on today's episode. Joe,
oh, nice.
We talked about NBA 2K ratings. I want to get your opinion on some of the stuff that we had an issue with. As far as the developers and giving, for example, Jeremy Sohan a 61 overall defensive rating. That's not good. That is not good. But we got a lot of store for you. We got a lot of Spurs talk. The schedule's out. Apparently, you can go Pokemon hunting in Texas. Apparently, we'll talk about that in a while. Yeah, and so much more. But how you doing, Joe? You been all right?
Doing good. And Harry Austin here saying, "Afternoon, all. Afternoon, Harry. Thanks for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it, man."
Absolutely. But I'm trying, Joe, to, get everything ready, because eventually I'm going to be going back home. And I had to call you last night because I had no idea what fiber meant. I didn't know what I thought all internet was just all internet, but apparently Joe had to educate me. And apparently it's a good thing that I'm going to get fiber, right, Joe?
Yeah, apparently, fiber is the top tier, just like that expensive steak that you bought.
I set myself up for that. I knew it. I saw it coming a mile away, Joe.
So just because of that, man,
here we go.
Have the money coming down,
Here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, dude.
Do that again.
The money?
Yeah, do the money thing. Oh, it's not on me. Sorry,
no, it's not on you.
Oh, you're taking my money then, Joe.
No, and then of course we have to play the song for you.
No, let's not do that. Bad idea.
We go money talk.
Bad idea.
We got to have fun with it. It's a Friday, man.
Absolutely. And again, everybody subscribe to Locked On Spurs. Rudy Campos is on today. He is also a host on this show, which will be transitioned to something new this upcoming Monday. But speaking of new, Joe, the new Spurs schedule is out. There are so many games that you want to circle. There are so many head-scratching games. Like, what? We'll talk about that in a bit. But, Joe, I want to start off with Rivalry Week. The NBA released the week long of NBA rivals, like Lakers, Boston, making it Clippers, Lakers, what have you. But apparently, are they trying to force feed this new rivalry, Joe? Thunder Spurs? Huh? I thought the rivalry was either with Dallas or with Houston. I mean, especially, this is how the schedule makers are not paying attention to the fan bases. Because if you have not been paying attention to social media, Spurs fans and Rockets fans have been beefing since the draft. I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's just out of control and words are being exchanged and Twitter or X has been banning people or putting them in timeout. Joe, as much as I know what they're trying to do, Wemby versus Chet, I think they dropped the ball on this one. It should have been Rockets Spurs.
And no doubt should have been Rockets Spurs. And you know what? The Rockets fans and the Spurs fan, there's no love lost there, man. We call each other out.
And it got worse. And it got worse this offseason because of the draft.
Oh, yeah. And they got mad because they didn't get the number 1 pick overall, which they were tanking hard and they were hoping they were going to get Wemby and they didn't. So then they turned on Wemby because they were mad like a jealous girlfriend, Yeah. So now they started throwing mud at the city, and saying bad things about our city and vice versa. So it got really nasty on Spurs Twitter, man.
And it's still nasty. It hasn't stopped yet. Yeah. I think that was a little bit misstep on the NBA scheduling planning there. I think it should have been Spurs Rockets. You have the Rockets. I think they have the 3rd pick in the draft. So
yeah,
you got that. You got that. It's just 2 Texas teams. You have the fan base. Let me tell you a story. Back in the Spurs days in the Alamo Dome, I remember going to a game and seeing a brawl break out on the upper deck between Spurs fans and Rocket fans. It's that heated. NBA schedule makers, you messed up, you dropped the ball. Hopefully they can fix that. But hey, if they're trying to force feed a Chet versus Wemby battle rivalry, I'm down with that because those two guys seem to be the two players that many peg for either winning the Rookie of the Year award. Joe, your thoughts?
I don't know, man. I was actually reading. I'm sorry, man. I was reading this a comment here from Tim Gonzalez because he was saying, "Hey, Moneybags, yesterday you were asking about what would happen if the Alamo Bowl next year maybe they will be use the Alamo Bowl as a college football playoff."
I think they've done it before, haven't they?
I don't know if they've done that before.
I don't think it's ever been in San Antonio. Yeah, so
I think it's because they have like that high school game that comes in, Pigskin Classic, and they feature high school, and sometimes they'll have some collegiate teams come through there, maybe through some type of what do you call that, like an exhibition games, things of that nature. But I don't know if they're going to actually have a playoff. That would be interesting if they did something like that.
I mean, I know the college football system has a playoff for down the road, like what, like 4 or 6 teams, something like that, 4 teams, and then they move on. But yeah, I mean, it'd be great if they can move one of those games to San Antonio, but I don't know. I mean,
well, I'm sorry. We'll have to see. Let's circle back to the question you were asking me. Ask me again.
I mean, Wemby versus Chet Holmgren. I mean, that's what is likely going to come down. I mean, I know Scoot Henderson is likely going to have a say in this, but many pick Wemby versus Scoot. They faced each other before in international play. I think Wemby got the best of him, but Chet looked good in Summer League. Wemby looked good in Summer League. It's a collision right now. I am looking forward to that clash. 2 lanky, tall guys going at it. So apparently that is according to the NBA, Joe, that is the Spurs rival. But I think they messed up. But I wouldn't mind seeing a Holmgren versus Wemby rivalry develop, kind of like Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain, like to that level.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that myself. But a lot of analysts for the 4-letter networks and the big networks that are out there on the national scene, they're all picking Chet to kind of win the Rookie of the Year over one Victor Wembanyama. And I think that's going to be a heated rivalry as far as matchups go. Probably in the near future, both are admirably, I guess, matched against one another because they have that length, and each one of them has a different set of skills. So I think it would be fun to watch from a fan perspective. Now, the Scoot Henderson matchup. Now, that's one that I think Scoot will really get up for. Of course, he's going to want to try to dunk the ball on Wemby, posterize him. So he's got to watch out for that. But again, that's going to be another good matchup that fans are going to get up for and they're going to enjoy watching, no doubt. And there's going to be a lot of hype around the media around those matchups. So, there's a lot of stories to be spun and money to be made off those games.
Yeah. 19 national games for your San Antonio Spurs. You heard me correctly. 19 times the Spurs are going to be on the national TV. That's between NBA TV, ESPN, TNT, and the like. Your Spurs, Wemby, are going to get a lot of attention this upcoming season. And they went from 1 last year, Joe, which was the Alamo Dome game, to 19. That just tells you how much everybody's anticipating Wemby to play. Hopefully he'll deliver. But with the attention, Joe, with a player like Wemby, with an exciting season ahead, means tickets, which means the Spurs are going to try to up the cost. And apparently, Joe, tickets are going for crazy amount of money. I can forgive lower bowl, $100, $200 a seat. But Joe, you told me before we hit record that upper deck nosebleed seats are going for over $200. Yeah. That is just insane.
Yeah, I took a look at Ticketmaster, when the Spurs schedule was released. And of course, that opening night game, right, against the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
I was just taking a look because I already got season tickets. I'm good. I got tickets for that game.
And you call me money bags? Look at you, Mr. I got season tickets.
Came with my package, right? My season ticket package. So I look in the upper deck, normally the seats can be had, last season for about $15, $20. No, hombre, dude. This season for that opening night game, $225 for nosebleed seats.
That's a
I'm
lot of
like,
money.
bro, that's insane, man.
That's a
That's
lot of
too rich
money.
for most people's blood, you know.
Not
And
for
if,
you, Mister. I have season tickets
well, I do have season tickets, man. I already
and
got
a
it.
brand
I've
new
already got mine.
car. Can we forget about
Yeah, can't
that?
forget my car. But I don't. Nobody's got more money than you, Jeff. Come on.
Ah, here we go. Yeah. No. I read your comment on the thing there, Mario Cavazos. Trey Jones will lock down Scoot. To be determined. We'll see. One of the things that Scoot has is that he is a big dude. He's a big kid at 19 years old. Just physically, he's a specimen. Trey Jones, I think he'll have to use his IQ to outwork him, outsmart him on the court, which he definitely can. Two different players too. You know, Scoot is definitely your prototypical reincarnation of Westbrook on that court. You know, explosive, dynamic, shoots a lot better than Russ, but that's the version of it. Trey Jones, he's a little undersized. We'll definitely see. You know, you're looking at the ticket sales. I mean, again, the Wemby effect, Joe. I mean, for $200+ tickets for the upper deck. Are you anticipating maybe even the concession stands to go up in price too?
Oh yeah, one of my buddies here, Daniel. He's watching right now. He's from the Legacy of Nerd podcast. Make sure you go check him out on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel, and he's part of my Countdown City Geekcast brothers as well. He's saying one of those days we'll end up being paying. They're going to be paying $15 for a hot dog.
You know what? Let me tell you. You want to ever have sticker shock? Go to a New York Yankees game.
Oh man,
You have no idea how cheap San Antonio is when it comes to concession food.
how much are they selling a stale hot dog and a stale beer?
Man, a hot dog. I remember I got myself a sandwich one time at Yankee Stadium. I think that thing was $25, and it was
Just
your
for
basic ham and cheese toasted.
Mm.
It is just crazy, but yeah, I mean, this is just what it takes. The fans wanted a premier, legit cornerstone piece of a franchise. He's here, Wemby, and the Wemby effect, as good as it is, you know, from attention to the Spurs being competitive to having a marquee player, hopefully, and whatnot, comes the other side of it, and that is higher ticket costs. Joe, do you think Spurs fans are gonna maybe back off in buying tickets, knowing that these are the prices, and cost of living nowadays is just sky high?
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Spurs fans, a lot of them are going to be priced out. You know, the diehard fans, and you're talking about fans that sometimes they don't have a lot of means, to go, and because they have large families to take care of and a lot of kids and stuff. So when they go out as a family to a Spurs game, they're going to go on a night when the ticket prices are more affordable, and they're going to have fun doing that. It's like maybe a once or twice a year event for them. It's a big deal. Now with the ticket prices the way that they're set, what's going to happen is that the Spurs are ultimately saying what type of fan they want there.
Mm-hmm.
They want somebody that's going to be there that has money to spend on these outrageous ticket prices. So by pricing these fans out, they're going to have to go somewhere to watch the game. And guess what? Sports bars around town are going to be jam-packed, and they're going to be making money. So they're going to be like, you know what? Save that money. Come over here and spend it on us.
Yeah, exactly. Why go spend money on parking and dealing with crowds and the higher cost of food and drinks, and especially if you take your kids or your family? I can forget maybe a date. Okay, fine. You take your girl or guy on a date, cool. But I mean, just your family alone. I mean, it's going to be a lot of money. We'll see. We'll see. Again, this is the effect of getting yourself a top-notch player. And there's good, and then there's the bad. And we're looking at the bad right now. Look, the Spurs, they're a business. They're in the business of making money. It's all in the name. Read it out loud. NBA, National Basketball Association. They provide entertainment.
Look at Tim Gonzalez. Just because you said money, Joe Garcia doesn't have a private jet or a $100 steak on a silver platter like money.
I like what the Legacy said. I'll probably end up at a Mexican restaurant on $2 margarita. Yeah, I wouldn't blame you. I would not blame you if you go that route at all. We're talking about the Spurs schedule that was released yesterday. Going over that, the ticket cost, and so much more right here on the Acquired Taste. And again, for those y'all just joining, I'll be exiting soon. Joe will carry you for about the last 15, 20 minutes. I got work to do, so I got to go.
Yes, let's go ahead and do an ad read real quick, Jeff.
Yes, go ahead.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow, not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/at Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Yeah, sorry about that, Jeff. For some reason, the text isn't working.
That's all right. No problem. No problem.
Somebody text to go ahead and hit subscribe to Locked On Spurs, and it doesn't want to.
Don't worry about it. Real quick, Mario Cavazos, yes, I do have a media pass. So I say, but doesn't mean I don't get food. I get a little bit of food for free, but no, I don't. It's bare minimum. It's bare minimum. But other games that I thought were interesting or just highlights of the schedule, Joe, is they start off against the Dallas Mavericks at the Frost Center. So what a way to break into the newly named gym. You're going against Luka Doncic, an interstate rival, the Dallas Mavericks, in the Southwest Division. They are the tops among, I think the Southwest Division, one of the weakest divisions. We shall see how that pans out. But yeah, I think that's a good way to open up the newly named arena. Wemby versus Luka Doncic. Again, that right there, Joe, just tells you the power of international players.
Yeah.
You got one premier player and one to be determined, but very possible international player that's really going to come on.
One of the games or the matchups that I'm looking forward to is also going to be the Spurs against the Sacramento Kings. That's always a good, fun matchup to watch.
Yeah.
Because both teams have a plethora of young talent,
Yeah.
So I want to see how Wemby's going to be able to help the Spurs this upcoming season, because Sacramento had the Spurs number last season.
Oh,
they were just like some games were pretty bad, Jeff. It was winning.
Absolutely.
They were winning by a landslide,
Absolutely. Another thing I want to highlight are the Austin games. So once again, Austin is getting 2 games, everybody, and they got themselves a couple of good ones. They got the Denver Nuggets and they got the Brooklyn Nets. So if you want to see the Brooklyn Nets, your only shot to see them is now going to be in Austin, not in San Antonio. Joe, there's a lot of a good chunk of Spurs fans that were reacting to that. They were saying that it's not good. They didn't like that Austin got 2 at least decent, and of course the defending champs. They felt that Austin should get the scrub teams, like the lesser known teams, those that are not going to be fighting for playoffs. Joe, I agree with them. I think they do, but at the same time, as we started, this is a business, and the Spurs are about making money, and they got to make money in Austin. So the defending champs are going to Austin. How do you feel about that, Joe, knowing that Austin's getting at least 2 premier games?
It is what it is at this point. It's something that Spurs fans are going to have to get accustomed to. Spurs fans didn't have an issue with the Spurs going over there to Mexico and having games over there. So you got to ask yourself, why is there an issue with them having games in Austin? And I think the reason behind all that is that Spurs fans are always afraid that the team will wind up, moving over there at some juncture. And I think that's why they have an issue with the team going and having these games over in Austin. But the games are going to be on March the 15th and 17th. 15th is on a Friday against Denver. On the 17th, on the Sunday, that's against the Brooklyn Nets. But either way, these 2 games with the media that's going to be out there, these are going to be games that the media is going to want to cover, especially with the defending champs, the Denver Nuggets. That's going to get a lot of attention. Brooklyn, well, they have a big media outlet over there in the New York area.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So the media is going to want to go ahead and cover that, especially in Austin. Austin has a bigger media presence than I think San Antonio does because of the attention that it garners, from a lot of these major companies that are headquartered there. So again, this is a strategic move by the San Antonio Spurs to go ahead and tailor to a different market and get their name out there. It's kind of smart, but also it jades the fans here in San Antonio because they want to see these games as well, Yeah.
And look, it is what it is. The Spurs have been very transparent. We're going to go to Austin. They went last year. They're going to expand their footprint in the south west or the south area of Texas. They're doing it. You're doing it again with Austin. They're not going to Mexico City this year, but again, their aim is to build that larger footprint throughout South Texas. I
Yeah.
remember speaking to a Spurs staffer last season about this. They were telling me that it's not just Austin or Mexico City. They're targeting Laredo. You already saw that last year when the G League Austin Spurs went there. They're targeting cities like Bernie and Gonzales. So yeah, Joe, if they want them to stay, that's what everybody says, and they got to expand that footprint. But I know Spurs fans don't like sharing the San Antonio Spurs, Joe.
Well, they don't like sharing the team. Y'all, when they go ahead and put the vote out, if the Spurs can go ahead and get some city funding from the citizens of San Antonio, you better vote to go ahead and get that funding in place, because a new arena needs to be had. If you've gone to the AT&T Center, man, dude, it's more like a shack, like a barn compared to.
And you know what? I'm really interested in how Spurs fans, or this city, reacts to that if the Spurs do and the city do come to the taxpayers again and say, we need you to tax y'all more for an arena. That is going to be interesting, but that's still a few years away. Other notable games on the slate, Joe, a 9-game rodeo road trip. So there's that. They'll do their traditional thing. I think that'll be good for these kids. Of course, you have the in-season tournament games. There's 4 of them this year. That's already built into the schedule. Hopefully, the Spurs will be playing in Las Vegas because that's where the in-season tournament finals will be had. If not, moving right along. Yeah. Again, they're only playing for cash. That's it. So it's not like a big. Sure, you want money, but as far as something meatier like a playoff spot or a play-in spot, they're not playing for that. It's just giving these players more money. That's the incentive.
Look at our
anything else stand out for you from the schedule?
Yeah, I'll announce that right now. But Zach, he's saying, so I was a little low guessing 6 national TV games. Good, And then Tim Gonzalez here says, I'm surprised the Spurs aren't playing games on ABC this season. Well, it's still
they're kind of. It's ESPN. ESPN and the ABC, they belong, I guess, ABC, ESPN, they're partners. So,
games that interest me. The one that's going to be coming up near the end of the season on, April the 12th against the Denver Nuggets. That's on a Friday, So they are going to see the defending world champions at some juncture here in the season, other than just in Austin. Then you have, of course, Golden State. Of course, there's always the fans for Golden State. They travel well here in San Antonio. The arena will be filled with Golden State Warrior fans.
Yes, sir.
Same thing with the Lakers. That's always an interesting matchup, So you'll see Laker fans come into the arena as well in full force. It's going to be purple and gold, like always, And the same fans are going to put on their Spurs gear. There's the game after that, So I'm interested in watching that. Of course, Sacramento. I'm always interested in seeing the Sacramento. Yeah. And, of course, the OKC matchups as well with Chet versus Wemby. But one team that's really going to be a team to watch for me and see how well the Spurs are, let's say, matched against them. Interestingly enough, to me, it's the New Orleans Pelicans. New Orleans has been one of these teams that the Spurs just can't seem to get past, especially when they were flirting with the tourney. They had the play-in and they weren't able to get past the New Orleans Pelicans. So again, let's gauge the team against another young team that has a little bit more seasoning on them and see how well they match up, because I believe the Pelicans are in the Spurs division as well. So again, that's another reason why I'm going to keep my eye on that matchup. And then, of course, you want to see Wemby versus Banchero, so you're going to want to see the magic as well. So I'm going to be looking forward to some of these matchups, especially how they're going to spin it with Wemby and some of the upper talent that's out there, especially the younger talent, not so much the veterans. We already know he'll probably wind up getting murdered, because there's no way he's going to be able to compete with all the experience, So look for a veteran posterizing Wemby, and that'll be spun on ESPN all over the place on the highlight reel, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely going to happen. But I'm excited for the new season. I know all the other fans are across the globe. A globe, yes. And 19 national games. That includes NBA TV. So there's no excuse for you to check out a Spurs game. And speaking of the Spurs, Joe, on the recent episode of Locked On Spurs, myself and Rudy Campos, a friend of this show, we broke down some of the Spurs NBA 2K24 player ratings, Joe. No surprise, Wemby is the highest rated Spur at an
84.
84. We had a little bit of a debate about this. Rudy felt that was too high for a rookie. I felt it was kind of about right. We both agreed it's just purely based on hype. What do you think? 84 overall rating. Too high for him?
Well, as far as rookies go, it's a high rating.
Yeah.
I think NBA 2K was being very generous with Wemby because of all the hype that he's garnering.
Yeah.
So I think it's right where it needed to be. I would have liked it to be a little bit higher just to get even more hype around Wemby, but that's just me personally. I think Wemby was okay with it. He was like, "Yeah, okay, 84, I can live with it." But he seemed like he was a little disappointed. I think he wanted it to be in like 87 or maybe an
Probably the 90,
86.
probably. I mean,
Yeah.
no way in the 90, yeah.
But 84, he was like, it's all right, you know?
Yeah. And look, look, you got to keep in mind these numbers go up and down throughout the entire year. You have injuries to deal with. You have hot streaks going, and so the game is really good about adjusting in season. But some other notable things too. The second highest Spur was Keldon Johnson with an 83. Interesting enough, Zach Collins made the top 5 highest rated Spurs on NBA 2K24. So basically your top 5 were Wemby, Devin, Keldon, Zach Collins, and Trey Jones. We had an issue with that on Locked On Spurs. We felt they should have flipped Zach Collins for Jeremy Sohan, who fell out of the top 5 into the bottom 10, 6 through 10, number 6 actually, and 61 overall defensive rating. We thought that was just bad, Joe.
Oh, have you seen Zach play? I'm just saying.
I mean, he's a good guy. I mean, he's a good player. Nothing.
Look,
nothing
man,
bad.
I'm not discounting the guy as a decent player. He's a good player, and he brings the toughness, which I like. He's not going to back down from a fight. He's not going to let somebody punk him. So I respect that. But when it comes to playing defense, I mean, he's an okay player in my book. But it seems like when he's going up somebody who's a little bit smaller than him, a little bit more athletically gifted, they go ahead and they show what, I guess some of the cracks in his armor there, where he's not very good with his lateral movement. He's kind of slow and cumbersome in that regards. If they go ahead and lull him out, at the top of the key, they can just go ahead and just give him a little quick step and that's it. They're going to get past him. And he tries to make up with it with his length, but he's just not fast enough, So, I mean, it is what it is on that end. But as far as a big man that we have on the team that can be great either in the first unit or second unit, Zach's your guy, and he's a great player in that regards.
But okay, fine. But top 5 rated?
Yeah,
overall
top 5
rated?
No, I'm just saying, it doesn't make sense to me.
You could have, like I said, I think what they should have done is flipped in Sohan top 5, put him number 5, whatever. Put
Sohan's
Zach
better
at 6.
Yeah.
And I think what's going on is the fact that they're not counting that being Sohan. They're not looking at what hurt him was his offensive rating. That's what really hurt him. But we felt that his defensive rating down Zach Collins. Other interesting notes about the game and the player ratings too. This is where you go like, tell me the Spurs without telling me about the Spurs. I believe they gave Trey Jones an 80 overall rating in 3-point shooting. 3-point shooting.
No, mames. That's what I would have told them. What do y'all watching, dude?
They're not watching the Spurs. You can clearly tell they are not watching.
They're going.
I don't know what they're looking at. I mean, the developers were definitely not paying attention to the Spurs last season.
They were high that day, man.
Yeah. They must have been in one of those places. But so overall, I think the other nitpicky thing was Devin Vassell, 3rd highest rated. I believe he was about an 81. We felt that maybe he should have been tied with Wemby at 84.
I think
that
so.
would appropriate. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I think so too, because arguably when you look at Devin Vassell, and of course you have to gauge what happened with him last year because of injury, right? So I think that number factored into the overall rating that they gave him, but just what he was able to do when he was healthy and when he was on the court, I think that garnered him to at least get an 84 and 85.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, because he is arguably the best player that the San Antonio Spurs have as far as the best well-rounded basketball player that they have on the team, being able to go ahead and play defense, being able to shoot the ball, and create his own shot. I mean, he's a very athletically gifted player. I think that maybe one of the most athletically gifted players that the Spurs have currently. So it was a little low in my book. I think I would have seen it a little higher.
Yeah, I would have seen it a little higher. But again, if you want to listen to what Rudy and I have to say about the NBA 2K ratings for your San Antonio Spurs, check out today's episode of Locked On Spurs. Is on YouTube. Just search on YouTube Locked On Spurs right there. By the way, Joe, Rudy did not wear his famous cap. A lot of Spurs fans tune in because he has this all white cap and it has the city skyline in the Fiesta colors. He didn't wear it today. He disappointed the fans. So I reminded him. I said, "You got to wear it all the time, man. You got to wear it all the time."
Well, this one's my favorite because it has a little gold in it, 35th anniversary cap that I got here, fitted cap. It's nice, man. I like that.
Yeah. Overall, yes, David Atwater, Spurs versus Hawks on TNT MLK Day. Yeah, Wemby effect. They're getting him in front of the camera as best they can and more. Joe, do we have another advertiser?
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and have another read right here. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
All right, there you have it. MCS.
So let's go ahead and transition real quick, Jeff, before you head on out of here. Let's talk about the UFC fight that's going to be coming up.
Oh, yes, got a good one this weekend.
Yeah, we
tomorrow.
do. Yeah, it's going to happen tomorrow. And, the thing is that the fight had some cancellations. You had Jeff Neal and versus Ian Gary, and that's actually going to be still going on, but it's going to have a different fighter because
different
Neal couldn't make it. So now they have Neil Magny versus Ian Gary. And then the other one was Cody Garbrandt against Mario Batista. Garbrandt couldn't go ahead and make that fight. He had to bow out. So now Mario's opponent is going to be Damon Blackshear. So the main event is going to be Aljamain Sterling against Sean O'Malley. I mean, that's going to be a good one.
Sugar Show. He's been in and out though. He gets injury prone. He's back. I think it's going to be a good brawl in Boston. I mean, Sugar Show. I know he has punching power, but athletically, would you consider him an athletic fighter? Because I think his opponent is a better athletic fighter.
I think what happens with Sugar Sean O'Malley, he brings in that showmanship, Well,
yeah, I mean, that's what he's all about. Yeah, I mean, that's his shtick.
Yeah,
but in the octagon though.
Yeah, but when he gets in the ring, he's a mixed bag. Sometimes you're either going to get the best of him, or sometimes he's just going to shit the bed, so to speak. And one of the things that I found that he's prone to, if you look back at his fights, he's got to watch it with those leg kicks. Once you take those legs away from him, he's not a very good grappler. He's shown that he's a striker. He likes to go ahead and, he likes to get his opponents in the middle of the ring. He wants to go ahead and duke it out with them. Not so much a grappler. I think if Sterling can go ahead and get him to the ground, and go ahead and start working those legs, forget about it, man. I don't think it's going to go the full 5, Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a great fight this weekend in Boston. I'm looking forward to it. Joe, you're going to be going to a bar to go check it out? Or you're going to watch it at the Man Cave?
I'm going to watch it here in the Man Cave, man. I'm going to go ahead and sit back here because they also do have the Dallas Cowboys that are going to be playing as well, and that's going to be a late game. Wow. So you have the NFL preseason that's going to be coming up on the weekend, and the Dallas Cowboys versus the Sea Chickens, the Seahawks. That's going to happen at 9 p.m. Yeah, that's going to happen at 9 p.m. Then, of course, you have Raiders and Rams. Yeah,
it's a great sports weekend. It really is. From the fight to preseason games, Dallas Cowboys playing. I think everybody's going to be tuning in. Joe, you're probably going to get drunk, right?
I don't know, man. It depends.
You're the one always saying you got all that liquor behind the scenes there.
You should see the fridge right now. It's fully stocked.
I've seen your fridge before. I know it. I've seen it's that little white fridge you got.
No, it's a black fridge. But yeah, it's fully stocked with liquor and beer right now. So we're ready for the weekend. But the one thing that I was going to tell you too, I wish you were here in town, because the San Antonio FC is going to have Spurs night, so you can go ahead and get the collection of all the
Ooh, yes,
bobbleheads
yes.
with the little river barges.
And why does everybody break their back to get them when there's always a surplus every year? Remember when they were giving away DeJounte Murray bobbleheads
Yeah,
in the parking lot? They were giving away DeJounte bobbleheads in the parking lot. In the parking lot. And there's
they're giving them
always a
away.
surplus.
Yeah,
In
you can find
Austin,
them at
if you go to
Goodwill.
Austin Spurs games, they have them. If you go, to SAFC, they're gonna have them. I don't get why everybody just breaks their back when they come out because eventually they're gonna be there somehow, some
Yeah,
way.
you'll probably find them in the Goodwill. But the other thing that's going to be happening this week
He
as
said the
well.
Goodwill.
But yeah, you can see them at Goodwill. I've seen a whole bunch of them, DeJounte Murray bobbleheads there.
Oh, that you mean like the ones like a Keldon or
Oh
a
no,
Devin or
just
something like that.
DeJounte.
Okay.
They had a plethora of them at the
Okay.
Goodwill. The Spurs didn't even want them anymore. So the other thing that's going to be happening this weekend is the San Antonio Missions. They have a game too on, I think, either tonight or tomorrow, and it's
Yeah.
going to be Star Wars night. So if you paid like
Woohoo!
$20, you got a good seat in the shade
And you get a freaking lightsaber.
and a lightsaber, bro.
You literally get a lightsaber.
I'm
How
like,
am I not
"Ooh."
going? I need to be there.
Yep, exactly, man. I was like,
Oh, let
that.
me ask you, Joe. What if you could have a real life lightsaber? What color blade would you want it to be?
Oh man, I gotta go with red, dude. Sick.
Really? I'm always partial to the green saber. I love that green look. Looks
Yeah.
clean. Gotta have
I
it
like the
clean.
green one, man. But yeah, I like the red one more, dude. Like Vader, you know?
Red is good. Yeah, well, they're introducing the orange one now. Did you see it for Ahsoka, the series?
I saw it, man. But you know where that one kind of originates from a little bit?
What's that?
From your favorite series that they showed it on. It was like a yellow saber. It wasn't orange. It was more like that yellow saber with Rey from Star Wars, the new trilogy.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, you can tell I didn't know because I didn't watch that piece
Exactly.
of you know what.
Garbage time there. Yeah,
That's just garbage time. But
yeah.
again, a great sports weekend. You got football, you got basketball. Well, technically, you got basketball. Team USA is playing.
Yeah, you got
If
that.
you want to check them out in the World Cup there, FIBA World Cup, and of course you got the Cowboys. Though, Joe, I know I got to leave soon, but I cannot leave without doing some nerd talk. We kind of started a little bit with the lightsaber and Star Wars talk, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go see Blue Beetle.
Are you?
I'm going to go see it. Now, is it just me or is the hype pretty strong? Because you know me, I'm a Russian judge, man. I am critical. And from Rotten Tomatoes to independent reviewers to your guys, the Utah, the Countdown City Geeks. Yeah. Everybody's saying it's good, Joe. Are you buying the hype, even though it's a DC film?
I'm buying the hype at this point. I think what sets it apart though is this film is more about family, and more importantly, it's about a Latino family. And I think a lot of people can relate to this because family, especially Latino families, they can be quite embarrassing, Jeff. You know this for a fact, when everybody comes to drop you off at college or at high school on your first day. Ay, mijo, this and that. And like, I think that is real life. And I think a lot of people gravitate towards that. And it's going to be, I think that's what's really selling this film to the masses, is that it's about Jaime Reyes, another Latino, high schooler or
even the hype for him. Apparently, they say that he killed it as far as Blue Beetle.
Yeah, and they used a real suit. A lot of that you see, 95% or 90+% of the film does not use CGI when he's in that suit. It's a real suit. So
Nice.
That's interesting too. We saw the suit. I have pictures of it when it was at the Casablanca Theater. I took the pictures when I was there last time. But yeah, I think it's worth the hype. I think this is the Latino version of the Black Panther.
I'm hopeful. I'm gonna get the last showing because I don't like when at peak evening, like your 6-7 o'clock showing is when it's bad.
I know what
go
you're
for
thinking, Jeff.
I go for the last showing where everybody's like out already. I'll go
doesn't want to be around the kids. Jeff says F them kids.
No, man, it's just like, you know how loud it gets, and sometimes like you're like, oh, just shut up, people.
Yeah.
Come on, you've had that experience before, right?
The worst is people when they get messages on the phone in the theater and you have more than one person and they keep checking the phone. I'm like, bro, you can't watch the film because they keep taking the phone out all the time. It's like, go out of the theater, man. I've
I've seen people argue over that, like about that. like somebody's in front of them and they see the light and hey, keep
Yeah.
out for light, and that just sparks a. I mean, that's like a brawl spark right there. I mean, it can get crazy. I always say the best thing to do, don't say anything, just walk away and grab a manager and then come right back. Just don't say anything, because anything like that, like in a movie setting or at the beach or at a ball game. Oh, sir, or ma'am, can you get out of the way? I need to see. Oh, you're in my way. I mean, that just fists are about to fly. You go that route, Joe.
Yeah, man. But I mean, yeah, you got to go and try to be diplomatic about it, especially if you're with family. You got small children and stuff. I mean, you don't want to scare the kids,
So you're a big guy. I don't see anybody messing with you, though.
No, I've had to tackle somebody before one time in the theater because they were acting stupid. No, I swear to God, I did. I was with my family, and this is when we're watching Iron Man, I think 3 in the theater, and some kids were just acting weird in the theater, man. They were not kids. They were like in their 20s, and they were just going through the crowd, going through every aisle, and it didn't matter if somebody was sitting down or you're standing up. They were just mowing through everybody, acting stupid, and they had backpacks on. And the kid kind of stepped on my wife and my daughter. And I told him, "What's your problem, dude?" And he just kept, he wanted to push past me. So I got him and I threw him against the ground and I just tackled him there, held him there. And then somebody else, another dad got the other kid that was acting stupid, put him on the ground. They called security and everything, manager. They came and got him out of there. And we said, we don't know what they're doing. They've just been acting stupid the whole movie. So they wanted to fuck around and find out. Well, they found out.
Joe, you should be a bouncer.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't mind getting in a fight. I like fighting. I like getting hit.
I thought you were a lover, Joe. I thought you were a lover, not a fighter.
No, I mean, I used to box back in my younger days,
What?
I don't mind getting punched, dude. Yeah.
I'm shocked.
No, I used to box and I used to do some kickboxing because my dad had a friend of his that was a black belt. So we would spar with they had the kids sparring against each other. And I was about maybe 12, 13 years old, 14 years old, boxing in the backyard, kickboxing and stuff. So it was fun. I enjoy it.
Is it true that you trained Mike Tyson? That's what I heard.
No, then not by a landslide. I did not have nothing to do with Tyson, dude.
Oh, that's right. You trained Holyfield. I forgot. That's right.
Yeah, I don't teach people to bite ears off.
Hey, Holyfield didn't do that. It was Tyson.
Oh, I know that. I'm saying that's why I'm like I
like what Tim Gonzalez says. Jerry Jones should sign Joe Garcia to yeah, you could. Hey, you could protect Dak, man.
I don't know, man. I think I might.
They need help in the O-line, man. That's where you come in.
Depends.
Your nickname would be O-line Joe Garcia, like O-line.
Yeah,
like you are the O-line.
I used to play football back in the day, dude. So I like the contact sports, Jeff. I'm not afraid.
So when you got drafted number 1 in the NFL, how was it?
I wish if I got drafted number 1, I wouldn't be.
You wouldn't be here right now, man. You'll be like, laters, everybody.
Right? I'd be like, let them eat cake.
Yeah, I knew it. I mean, Mario Cavazza, I know you trained Macho Camacho, Joe.
Macho Camacho. It'd be fun, man, to hang out with all these people, man. One time we're gonna have to do a Spurs Twitter get together here soon, man, so we can go ahead and chill. When Jeff comes back into town, we're gonna have a little meet and greet, little get together. We're not gonna be eating steaks or nothing like that. We're gonna be eating the common folk food,
Hey, it was one time I got caught. Okay, no, one time.
Don't let him lie to you, man. Don't let him lie to you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to bow out, Joe. I see the meter running right now.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you for letting me fill in for Rudy today. Stay tuned with Joe. Joe's gonna carry you the rest of the few minutes here. Also, don't forget, as Joe mentioned, next week is a brand new show, just in general show. And Joe, you already teased it, saying like there's gonna be a lot more fan interaction.
Yeah.
So that's a little hint there. But everybody from Zach S.A. Spurs, we see Jimenez. Jimenez is making a low-key appearance right now, Joe. Did you catch it?
Jeff has been coming back to town for about 6 months.
Zip it, Jimenez. Zip it.
He has been coming back down to SA here and there. He's just low-key about it.
I'm very low-key about it. I show up to San Antonio without telling anybody. Just one day I'm like, I'm here. That's how it usually goes. I don't tell anybody. I'm here.
Hey, man, but Jeff is very generous. Jeff is very generous when he comes. He takes care of his friends, He's a good friend, man, in that regard. So We give him a lot
Yeah.
of shit about things, but we love Jeff at the end of the day.
Absolutely. No, I'm not leaving early to get ready for the steak, Tim Gonzalez. I gotta go because I gotta work. I
Gotta
gotta
work.
make the money so I can pay some bills. That's what I gotta do.
Exactly, man.
But all right, guys, everybody, appreciate you again. Joe's gonna carry you the rest of the way, just about 10 more minutes. And Joe and his new look show will be debuting this Monday. So, Joe, I appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate you stepping in, man. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Take care,
No
man.
problem. Yes, sir.
Bye. All right. So Jeff went ahead and left. Make sure you go ahead and follow Jeff at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter. So if you want to know more about Jeff, we'll go ahead and do the ad read again for him. Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow, not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/at Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. All right. So thank you, everybody, too, for joining us today. We greatly appreciate you guys. Mario Cavazos, Zach S.A. Spurs. Even Mike made a quick appearance there. Thank you for interacting with us and giving Jeff a hard time. Tim Gonzalez. We appreciate every single one of you guys that's interacting with us. Joshua Jimenez, our usual suspects. I didn't see Chris Leha in the chat today, but that's all right. David Outwater, Jacob Eric, we appreciate every single one of you all who makes the time takes the time out here to go ahead and interact with us fools as we start bringing you everything in the world of sports. And also, we're going to go ahead and do one more ad read here. We have two more. So I'm going to go ahead and play this one here from our girl, Cynthia J. Sanchez of J. Parr Realty. J. Parr Real Estate has been a proud sponsor of ours since day one. Check out Cynthia J. Sanchez. Her reviews can't be wrong because all of the people that she sells homes to, they give her 5 stars and say that she is prompt, that she is understanding, that she communicates well, that she calls back, that she answers questions correctly. And yes, they say that she is good at what she does. If you are in the market to buy a home, sell a home, whether it be a rental property, primary residence, or Airbnb, reach out to Cynthia J. Sanchez from J. Parr Real Estate. Her number is 210-273-0748. She has 16 years of experience in real estate and is a former claims adjuster with USAA. So she knows what she's looking for when she's showing you those pre-owned homes. Give Cynthia J. Sanchez a call at 210-273-0748 for all your real estate needs. Make sure you do go ahead and call Cynthia J. Sanchez. She's very good at what she does, and she is the official realtor for this Acquired Taste podcast. Make sure you reach out to her at 210-273-0748. And, like we said, we do have some of the NFL action coming up this weekend, some of the games of merit here that are going to be happening tomorrow. And actually today, too, we have a game against the Panthers and Giants happening at 6 p.m. tomorrow, or today. Actually, you have the Panthers and Giants at 6 p.m. And you also have the Bengals and Falcons. I almost forgot about that. That one happens at 6:30 p.m. Tomorrow's slate is going to start at noon, and you have the Jaguars and Lions. You have the Dolphins and Texans at 3. Bills and Steelers at 5:30, the Bears and the Colts at 6 p.m., Buccaneers and Jets at 6:30. You also have the Titans and Vikings going at it at 7 p.m., along with the Chiefs and Cardinals at 7, Patriots and Packers at 7, and the Broncos and 49ers at 7:30. And then the primetime games here, you got the Raiders and the Rams at 8, and then it's Puro Pinche Cowboys at 9 o'clock. You got the Cowboys going against the Seattle Seahawks at 9 p.m. tomorrow. So there you go. And then you also have, I forgot to mention, honorable mentions on Sunday. You have the Saints and the Chargers at 6:05. And then you have the Ravens and the Commanders, the Washington Commanders. That's going to be happening on Monday, the 21st. That's at 7 p.m. So that's going to be your NFL preseason. That's going to be week 3 of 4. So we're about 23 days away from the Dallas Cowboys actually taking the field and starting their season. That's going to be exciting too. And I want to go ahead and give a quick shout out to one of my boys who's actually doing a promotion here for the CadabraCon. So we're going to go ahead and show that to you guys. CadabraCon is going to be occurring here September the 29th through the October 1st over at the Portland Community Center in Portland, Texas. And Portland, Texas is right smack in the middle between Corpus Christi and Rockport, Texas. So make sure you go ahead and check out CadabraCon. They're going to have a lot of guests out there. They have a lot of voice actors, a lot of Power Rangers that are going to be out there. So if you want to do something with the kids, you want to be near the coast and take in a really family-friendly convention, this is going to be your spot. So make sure you check out cadabracon.com for more information and for you to go ahead and purchase your tickets. And we're also going to go ahead and do one more ad read here before we start bringing this show to a close, and that's going to be for Serenity Manor. Serenity Manor is an events venue located at 14405 Old Bandera Road, across from Flores Country Store, set in a historic building that is over 100 years old. You can have a baby shower, bridal showers, quinceañeras, sweet 16s, corporate events, weddings. There's an indoor and outdoor venue with a dance floor and a sand volleyball court out in the back, set under the shade of the trees, and there is beautiful lighting in the evenings. Serenity Manor is a very beautiful place that is very family oriented, and they have rotating Thursday nights. They have karaoke and game nights. They also have a bar that serves beer, wine, and margaritas. So after a concert at Flores Country Store, you can go over diagonal across the street, catty corner, grab a beer, get away from the crowd, and check out the beautiful Serenity Manor. So definitely make sure you do check out Serenity Manor. And Serenity Manor actually has some events coming up. They are going to have a vendor. This is the last chance for you guys to sign up to become a vendor. So make sure you go ahead and check that out on their website. You can go ahead and look to see how you can go ahead and sign up with the market day application there. It's your last opportunity to sign up for their market that is taking place on Saturday and Sunday, the 18th and 20th. Vendors can sell their products at a market event at the Serenity Manor that they're going to be hosting out there. It's going to be happening this Saturday. They will be allowing the vendors to stay as late as 7:30 to take advantage of the concert goers across the street. Flores Country Store is going to have a Randy Rogers concert. He's going to be performing out there. So there's going to be a good crowd that are going to be coming out in the evening. So the bar will be open until midnight. So if you want to go ahead and go across the street and grab you a little, drink before you head on home, you can do that over at Serenity Manor. And again, the location of Serenity Manor is 14405 Old Bandera Road in Helotes, Texas, 78023. All right, as we have been teasing, man, we're going to have some changes coming up to the show here. And we need to go ahead and, full disclosure, we're going to have changes. We're going to have more ways for you to interact with us. We're going to be going live, too, on Twitter Spaces at the same time we're doing the show. So if you guys want to go ahead and get into the show, be a part of it, we're going to go ahead and get you guys on the stage on Twitter Spaces so you can actually be almost like calling into a radio station. We're going to have new ways for you to go ahead and send messages to us. You're going to have a text function. So everybody, if you're using your phone and you can't really just, be a part of the show and you're just kind of watching or listening and there's not a way for you to, text a message to us, well, now you can. You're going to be able to go ahead and text your messages to us in real time. We'll display those as well. So we're going to have a lot of new things that are going to be coming up, a new name as well. So new graphics, new logo, new everything. So stay tuned for us on Monday. We'll probably tease something on Sunday to kind of go ahead and let you guys know what we've been working on. So this is going to be the last episode of the MJ Acquired Taste as we know it, but we're going to have a healthy plethora of guests coming through here, familiar faces like Katie Goodman. You're going to have Rudy Campos. You're going to have Jeff Garcia stepping in as well. So it's going to be the same show, just a different look, a different name. So we look forward to interacting with you guys on Monday. Take care, fellas. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you then. We're out. Peace.